time. What is this, Eric?
Alright, well basically, dude, how the tournament works is once you're registered, your guy's registered, you guys both see each other's teams. You don't see the movesets and everything like that, but, you know, he does have a pretty considerable team. A lot of Pokemon right at the 1500 mark, which is the limit for your Pokemon. So, you know, it looks like he prepared considerably better than I did, but I'm not giving up yet.
Alright, so we're looking at our first match between myself and Dar247. Just for reference, all game footage is going to be on the left. On the top is going to be my lineup of Pokemon and my opponents. And in the right, you know, there'll be in real life footage, but what I'm going to be commentating is the gameplay footage on the left, because on the right, you know, you don't get to see all the gameplay and it's not exactly synced up perfectly. So right now, I'm using Sky Attack on his Lantern. I honestly should have switched out from Skymori to another Pokemon. It was my starter Pokemon. By the way, I already mentioned, but this is my first tournament, and I haven't really done a lot of PvP, so I'll totally accept that as my mistake. His Lantern pretty much just puts the hurt on my Skarmory. I think I bring out Quagsire, which is a pretty decent counter, because he is resistance against the electric moves that he knows, and both his fast and charge moves are electric, so that's pretty nice. Also, you will notice that every single Pokemon on my team does not have a second charge move. You know, I'm only level 35, so I can't really afford the heavier Stardust things, and if I go to the Kingdom Cup, I think it'll be a similar situation. It's just hard for me. I did get lucky there with the Skarmory's attack, with being able to pull off a charge move right, you know, the second before I died. We both get down to our last Pokemon. He throws out a charge move on me, but luckily it's not very effective, and we actually knock him out before we even use out our charge move Blizzard. So that's 1-up me and Dar's 0, and all matches are best 2 out of 3, Swiss style. So once again, I bring out Skarmory to start. Probably should have mixed it up. Would have been, you know, tricky for him, but you know, it's not like Celio's the supreme counter against Skarmory either. So he hits me with a charge attack, I hit him with one, we both block it, we're both at 1 shield each. You know, I decided, hey, what the hey, I'll just take the charge attack, which was honestly smart because it was just a body slam, not even a very effective move against me. And from there, we do take first blood with just under half health. He brings out a flying type to counter Altaria, and we're just going at it. He blocks that one. He throws a charge attack at me. I decided to play conservatively for once with just a tiny bit of strategy. I'm sure anyone watching this would have done the same thing and just taken the blast rather than block it. Lantern does pretty well because, you know, it knows the move Thunder. I should also mention that for this tournament, most people use the move Thunderbolt as opposed to the move Thunder. That's because while Thunder does do more damage overall, it does take longer to charge up, thus making it like less ideal because you know, if you're fighting another Lantern, it can get its charge move off first. So that and other reasons was I lacked a little bit, to be honest. Here's my second match against Thomas No Young. He was probably, in my opinion, the best trainer I faced during the Tempest Cup. He just really knew all the move types extremely well. Actually, when he was beating me down, he gave me some pointers, so I appreciate that. If you're watching this, thanks, man. Again, the in-game footage and the in-real-life footage is not really synced up to this one at all. It's just more so for aesthetic purposes. So yeah, I'm bringing up my Skarmory against his Lantern, and he's just really making light work of my Skarmory. I follow up with my Quagsire, which is honestly not terrible, although I didn't know that he would have Hydro Pump as opposed to Thunderbolt. I actually think Thomas had both moves available to him, so that was definitely an advantage. Not an unfair advantage, of course, but just something that he had going for him as well. And see, yep, he hit Sand Slash with the Thunderbolt, which was a pretty nasty move, but my Sand Slash is able to take him out. But, you know, he still has 2 whole Pokemon alive, and while my team's out. So, yep, the current scoring is Eric 1 Thomas. But hey, let's see if we can bring him back. To start, we both bring out Lantern, and we're both, just firing water guns back and forth at each other. He hits me with the Thunderbolt, like I said, just a little bit faster than I'm able to bring out my Thunder. We both block. He brings his Pokemon back. He in turn brings out Wish Cash. He hits Water Pulse against Steelix. I'm not really sure why he brought out the Steelix. That just seems kind of like an oversight to me. Yeah, because it was super effective. I don't know. I was just sort of panicking, like I just recognized this guy's being way better than me. To be honest, I wasn't even expecting to see Wish Cash in the tournament, so I just wasn't exactly sure how to handle the situation. But, it was a learning experience, so I'm not really going to complain too much. Here I bring out my Altaria against his Skarmory, and, he's making pretty good work there in that regards. But, let's see. Yep. I switch out, bring in my Lantern, just because I know I have those electric charge moves that can bust out on him. But actually, just as I'm about to bring out my charge electric move, he swaps out Pokemon for Lantern. And, I definitely think I held my own better this match than the previous match. But, just to be honest, I just think he's a better trainer overall, because he really baited me there, got me out. But it was good. It was a good match. Definitely learned a lot, and I lost 0-2 to Tom Stoning. So currently my record is 1-1. And here's my other match. I should mention that in my match against Lovin' Spoonful, my entire first round against him was not recorded. Just a little bit of technical difficulties in that department. So I actually won round 1. It was pretty close. So now we're in round 2 against him. And, he brings out Lapras, the first time I've seen Lapras in combat for this tournament. And so he brings out Lantern. I decide to ditto my Lantern against his Lantern, which obviously is already kind of a bad decision, considering I'm assuming everyone at this tournament has at least Thunderbolt, Lantern, and one other charge move. And, we've already said Thunder is generally considered to be inferior. But now this guy brings out Abomasnow, who absolutely tears apart Lantern with his Razor Leaf, Oh man, it does so much damage. And apparently the best counter for Abomasnow for this tournament was Charizard. I did not have a Charizard within that CP range, and he wasn't really a Pokemon that I strongly considered when picking a Pokemon for the tournament, so that was just kind of, unfortunate. Alright, on to the next match. That is him winning. So it's 1-1 right now against Lovin' Spoonful. His Steelix is doing holding up against my Altaria. I decided to switch it up from normally bringing Skarmory out. I thought Altaria could have been an okay switch up, And I'm still busting out a fair amount of charge attacks on this guy. The health's looking pretty much about even, but the fact is that Crunch does like a normal amount of damage, while my Sky Attack is not very effective. It's just not a great circumstance to be in. But we're still at 2 Pokemon each. My Sand Slash only took a little bit of damage, and Blizzard is a pretty powerful move to bust out. And even though it was not very effective, I'd say it still does a considerable amount of damage. Let's see what this guy busts out. Yeah, he hits me the Thunderbolt. That did a lot of damage. I'm able to pull out one more charge move before my Sand Slash perishes. But again, it's just looking neck and neck right now. It's Quagsire. But unfortunately, this guy whips out the Abomasnow, and I'm pretty sure it's double effective. You guys can see me in the other side where I look disappointed. So disappointed. It was a pocket Abomasnow. It absolutely wrecked me. So that was a loss, 1-2. But a good match nonetheless. This is myself up against Romeo Mike 26. He starts out with the Charizard, and I'm bringing out Quagsire. Quagsire started, I'm not... Honestly, I feel like after I lost twice in a row, I just started bringing out like random picks, you know, just Pokemon that I had a decent notion that would go well together. Honestly, I felt like I just didn't do enough research prior. So yeah, his Charizard manages to take out my Quagsire, and we both have one one block remaining. I don't know if that's a good decision to bring out Lantern, but luckily he brought out his Weavile, and you know, I think Weavile just normally just has a pretty low defense, and you know, like the Charge Move Avalanche isn't super effective or anything, so we actually are able to knock out his Weavile with that. And then he brings out Raikou, and surprisingly Raikou doesn't have a lot of bulk. He's not really too recommended from a lot of the guides I've seen. So I feel like Romeo's big mistake in that battle was having Raikou on the team. Despite me with bringing out Skymori, we just did enough damage prior to take it out. This time, I did do a little bit of reading, and I kind of figured he'd bring out Charizard at the start, which was pretty lucky. Too bad we didn't have Thunderbolt, because I feel like we could have edged out the first move, but it's no biggie. So we start out using Thunder, super effective, knocks the Charizard out, barely any damage to us. Once again, we're just eating a Sludge Bomb from Quagsire. It's not a huge deal though. Throw that one out. I think we just take that one. Yep, we just take it. Next up is Skarmory, who, I mean, they're not. Let's see how that goes. Yep, so his Sludge Bomb's not very effective or anything. Sky Attack, I think that should just be neutral. Yeah, not super effective or anything. His brings out Raikou, which is a pretty good counter for Skarmory, of course, with all the electric moves. At that point, my whole philosophy was just try and do as much damage with Skarmory as possible, and use the third remaining Steelix to take him out. Didn't seem to be like too bad of a strategy, because he does manage to take out my Skarmory, but by the time Steelix comes out, I do enough damage to knock him out with a very healthy amount of health left on Steelix. So here's me against Susie Slacker, where she starts out with Tropius. I switch out to Skarmory, and she switches over to Charizard, which is a pretty good decision, because, you know, now we both can't switch Pokemon, but now her flying type is just hitting me over and over again with these fire types, which is, you know, pretty strong move. But she actually doesn't block my charge attack, which is pretty nice. Switches out her Charizard and then brings out Tropius, which I feel like is a pretty good Pokemon to fight against Lantern with. And she blocks my charge move, and yeah, it's not looking super great. Quagsire is just getting demolished by Tropius. At this point, I'm not really feeling too confident, and you know, she beats me with 2 Pokemon remaining entirely. Still a good match though. This time I bring out Lantern again, which is pretty usual, but I decided to play a little bit smarter. I end up switching Pokemon directly to my Sandslash. She brings out her Charizard, which is pretty mean, but the Blizzard is so strong with Sandslash, it actually knocks out her Charizard before he can really do some serious damage to me, which I honestly got very, very lucky with. She told me herself that she was not expecting that Blizzard to do so much damage. I'd say it really kept me in the match. So there you go. Lantern does pretty well against, you know, Altaria, given the Charge Thunder move. Oh, but we didn't even get it off. So yeah, Lantern just has a hair of health left. Tropius knocks him out as soon as he comes in. But luckily I still have my block. She's out of shields. Then I can, you know, throw out a Sky Attack and just a little bit more. Tropius does have that disadvantage to him in the fact that he is Grass type, so not only Charizard but other flying types can do a considerable amount of damage to Tropius. She brings out Tropius at the start. I throw in my Altaria. She blocks it, of course, which I think is a pretty good decision. Swaps out Pokemon, Skarmory. We're just battling birds. I did have a Charge Attack ready to go right off the bat, which is pretty nice. Let's see what she throws down here. Sky Attack. Yeah, we're just really just throwing out flying type moves against each other. Not very effective, But, you know, she barely has a hair of health left. I think I'd bring out Steelix. I think that was a pretty decent choice because I knew, yeah, I sort of just figured that she'd bring out Tropius there. And she hits me with the Aerial Ace charge move. And now she's bringing out Charizard, but I still have one Pokemon left with my Lantern. The shield definitely came in clutch. I don't think it would have done a lot of damage, but you know, you gotta really play as conservative as possible when, you know, you're down a whole Pokemon. At this point, she's only got Tropius. I got the Thunder ready to go, and you can see just how fast his her Razor Leaf is just doing to me. But luckily, I am able to hang in there. Just barely. That was probably my closest match of the Tempest Cup. Overall, though, guys, I had a great time at the Tempest Cup. Thanks for watching. Special thanks to the Lansing Pokemon Go Discord for hosting this tournament. If you'd like to see more Pokemon and, you know, Nintendo-related content, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.